Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of YBMcast, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. Look for us out at Warrenton Athletic Complex this weekend. We got the Cinco de Mayo tournament come out. Got our interviews. We're going to be doing our giveaways on Sunday. We got 14U Championship Sunday, 2 semifinals and a championship game. We will be live streaming, so make sure you come check us out. Come by there. We have Prime Sports Midwest. We got the store out there. If you need some gear, those are the guys. So make sure you check it out, Game7Baseball.com. Today, though, we're here at Liberty North High School. We're all the way up here in Liberty, Missouri, just outside of Kansas City. I want to thank the gentlemen that are around me for taking the time on a Sunday afternoon to come out and chat with us. I have Kirk Bragg from Liberty High School and Tim McElliogott from Blue Springs High School, and of course Ryan Stegall from right here at Liberty North High School. We'll be live streaming tomorrow night right out here for the Stegall Falcons coming to town. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it should be a good game. We're excited to get them in here. We haven't got to see them this year. I know Coach Bragg and I think Blue Springs have also saw them already, so they're a really good team, and we're excited to bring them in.
So who's going to win tomorrow night? Put them on the spot.
This will be a good one.
It'll be good. I like that.
I think it depends on who Dave throws.
Yeah, he's got, was it Jackson Glick, right? He throws pretty well. I know I'm not as familiar with some of the other guys as far as, excuse me?
Earl Beck.
And they've been having a solid year. All three of you guys, I think, have been having a solid year. I know you've kind of played it down, but I follow it enough to where I'm looking at wins and losses. That's about the best I can do from afar. But I've had you in my top 20 for pretty much the last few weeks. I thought you guys have been playing pretty good baseball.
Yeah, I mean, we've had to execute really well, not only on the mound, but also with our system ball. So to stay in the games and even compete with anybody. So we don't have quite maybe as talented as we've had in the past, but you know, right now this time of the year, it's just work our system and hope to stay in the game and maybe at the end win.
Talent cycles, right?
Yes.
When you're talking about your squad, pitching-wise, how deep are you?
From a, I guess, state caliber level, you know,
Yeah.
not very, maybe, 2, 3, 4 deep. But from a high school competitive level, I mean, we have some guys. It's just there's not a lot of gray hair on the mound for me this year. So
Makes a difference, doesn't it, Coach? Yeah. You have Mr. Cole Gibler.
Yes.
Which makes up for a lot of things, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's probably one of the best I've seen. I've been at Blue Springs for 27 years, and he's pretty good.
I know that was. I hadn't seen the young man pitch. We're working to try and get more and more. That's why we're coming this way here, because we want to talk more baseball throughout the state. We've been down in Southwest Missouri. We did Nixon, Springfield Catholic, and we were out at Willard as well this season. So we're working to branch and see more of these types of players, your programs and whatnot, because I think the state of baseball in Missouri is at a very high level. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's grown, especially since we've been doing this. We started Youth Baseball Midwest in 2017. And from that time till now, I think the level of baseball, my son played for Fort Zumwalt East there in St. Peter's. And I think, so I've been watching baseball a long time in that area, and I think it's just different than what it was. Is it the same here?
I think so. I think you hit it on the head. Like the last 5 years here, there are guys on every team. It's not just one team has a couple of guys. You look down all of our rosters. You look at Staley's roster for the last several years, and it's deep rosters. That there are kids, multiple kids, not just going to college, but high level, and kids that are scouts showing up every single day, at these fields to watch these kids and see where they're at. So for me personally, I know the last 3 or 4 years, especially out here. We have obviously been really talented, but I don't feel like it's just been us. I feel like it's the whole area for sure.
Somebody's got at least one dude, right? I mean, as far as that's, you got one guy that you can put out on the line and you go, I'm gonna compete today. You know, we may not win, but we're gonna compete. Correct?
Yeah.
Some of us got 5 dudes like that.
Well, and there you go, right? And that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, and then even in our conference, you know, we see at least 2 90 plus. You know, that we haven't seen that, you know, for years, and all of a sudden it's you know, you play him at least on the west and south, you know, and even with Kirk last couple of years, there are guys on the mound. So.
Right. I think it's so fascinating when you look at the level of baseball, especially on the mound. And we're talking about 17, 18-year-old kids and multiples of these kids throughout the state throwing 90 plus. I mean, the worst pitch I saw in high school was a knuckleball. I mean, I'm an old guy. Right? I mean, that was hard enough but you didn't see that in high school. I mean, you saw some kid throwing 85, man, you were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that's something these kids, like they might say, hey, he's throwing 90. The kids don't care anymore. You know what I'm saying? That they're used to facing it in the summer. 90 is really nothing when you look around. Yeah, does he have 90? Yeah, he's got 90. But what else does he have? You know, we would, and even when I played, I would much rather show me hard if it's straight. If it's got a wrinkle in it, I don't want anything to do with it. So even when we see harder pitching, honestly, for our lineup, we would rather see that. You know, we see the softer guys, and some of our guys really struggle with it.
If something's flat, I can hit it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you got you had Milbrandt there, that helped that team. I remember watching him close out West at that championship, and that was impressive. I hadn't seen somebody throw like that in high school before. When you're looking at your talent level and how how those things since he's gone, what is the dynamic and how do you replace somebody like that? You really can't in a public school, but how do you work towards getting the kids to play? You talked about system. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, when Carson that year, he was a junior, yeah. So he didn't really start out that well. He was just a thrower. And then I think he got beat around by Lee Summit West. And then right after that game, he just kept it simple. We're just going to work the fastball, and then every once in a while flip the curveball. We're just going to go fastball. And then he just took off. And he just got better, and his velocity started to improve. And I think by the time in the state game, I think he touched 94.
Uh-huh.
So by that time, he already kind of knew that, and he was out of the pen. So he liked that maybe not start role, just go into the pen role. So the other guys had to start, and then we just get to Milbrandt. That was a little different than what it was maybe senior year. But we had other guys that were just working around him to get him in. He was just the one that kind of just took off from all the competition before him, with like Brock Tony and some of those other guys. He just said, I want to be that guy at the end. So he had a different goal maybe than most, but then he just took off. Like he had no choice at that point. Everybody knew who he was. So, but we had, kind of like Tim, we had about 7 college arms on that team.
Yeah, you were deep.
The competition was high.
Coach, this year, that I know when we started talking about teams in the state with Kevin Mulder from Prep Baseball Report, he started talking about your team, the depth of your pitching, and where you're at. Has that played out so far the way we talked about it there? Is the depth really there for you? Are guys competing? Is it all happening?
The depth's there. We can go. We're 5 starters.
Wow.
And, Cole's got a little brother, Nick, or twin brother, Nick.
Yes.
UCM took 2. Lincoln Stevenson, who's going as a hitter, he's our 5. And then the other, Rona Vicini, he's going to Johnson County. UCM wanted him too. But the depth, you get those 5 guys going, you don't need a lot. I think their top 3, their ERAs are 1 or under. So it's been fun to watch. Cole has a joke, I'll give you the ball back in an hour and a half. And he does. He's just a competitor, but they feed off each other, which is kind of neat. One wants to outdo the other one, and it's been fun. But like I said, we don't kick it around. Those 5 guys on the mound are pretty good.
How do you, these few opportunities come around not very often. Mr. Two-time back-to-back, right? Yeah. Those don't happen often. I can't believe you guys won back-to-back. That blew me away. But how do you keep the kids focused, the program moving, and keep that thought process of high school kids on their way to this opportunity that is before them? You've got the depth. You've got the talent.
I think getting so close last year when we lost to Nixa, in the 6th, kind of gave it away there. And I think that really motivated them. Mm-hmm. And we saw just what they've done on their own, during tryouts and all the times that they've done. The 60 and the measurables all either went up or dropped. And, I think that was a motivating factor for them getting so close. Because we talked about it's hard to get there. And, these 2 guys can attest up to it. I was an assistant in 99 and 07 when we won. And it's fun. But that's been their goal. And but that last year, getting a little bit of taste has really inspired them. The chemistry with us has been great. But they have a goal. And it's been fun. But, ball bounce is funny. You have 5 guys that could be on the mound who, you just got to play behind them. But that taste last year was something for them. Yeah. That really helped. So,
you coming back this year, Coach? Tate McGuire. And he's getting some innings at Arkansas already. That's impressive as it is. But we've talked about this a little bit. Coming back this year, you didn't have that big guy. You lost your number 2 as well, correct?
We lost all but 2 pitchers that came back, and they were both bullpen arms. Our pitching has for sure been way better, at this time of year than I thought it would be. Gabe Perry, who was one of our top relievers last year and started some games as well. He's become an ace. He's sitting on the year 6-1 with around 1 ERA. He comes right at you. He's an in-play guy, and we play good defense. We got some dudes out in the field that can go get it. So as long as we throw strikes, we're going to give ourselves a chance. And a lot of other guys have stepped up. Matt Lewis, Mason Burnett, all of our starters, Logan Brazel. There's a couple kids that we kept this year on our team that have been cut the last 2 years just because we thought, hey, we need depth in arms. They've been really good. Logan Brazel, Kyler Chappell have been 2 kids. Kyler out of the bullpen, Logan starting. We had the depth the past couple of years, and we didn't think we'd have it this year, but it's held together, and they're competing at a high level on the mound.
Love that. Couple kids that didn't just give up on it, hung in there, got their chance this year. I love that.
Yeah, no, for sure. They worked their tail off and came back ready to go.
I like that. Guys, I will finish this up. I want to get to this last point with this because as we're heading toward the stretch of the season, everybody's starting to look toward districts. You're competing. To me, I grew up Dodger fan. Time in Lasorda, it was always give me pitching and defense and a blast, and we'll win the ball game. Well, one of the things that I think makes Fort Humboldt West so unique, every year you have to beat that team. I watch them play defense year after year, and it's one of the most solid high school baseball teams on the defensive side of it. I think I've watched. Where are you guys at with this? Where do you see? Because I think that is the key in high school baseball You got to have pitching depth, and you got to play defense, because you can scratch runs, you can create and manufacture, you can work towards that, especially if you got your lineup. You got guys, you can do those things. You can manufacture some runs, especially if you not got like Cole Gibler on the mound. Otherwise, maybe you're in trouble.
Mhm.
But defense keeps you in a game. It gives you that opportunity to scratch it. Where do you see your teams at this point defensively?
I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I know around the infield, we got a lot of high level kids out there playing right now, and that's, you start with Trey Snyder at shortstop. I still think he's the best shortstop in the state. I know Sissle's down there at Francis Howell, and if I had him, maybe I would say different.
Right.
But Trey
It's pretty good.
Trey makes a routine play. He makes tough plays look routine, and then we surround him by a couple, Cole Young, William Blug, and Harrison Barham. These other guys are very good too, and they feed off of that. In the outfield, we got a great center fielder, and I think as long as you can be strong at the middle, center field, shortstop, second, and catcher. And Bo has caught for us for the last 4 years. Calls every pitch for the last 2 or 3 years. He's done that, and he doesn't get enough credit for our pitching staff being where they're at either. When you bring back 2 kids from your staff last year, we were under 20 innings, and like I said, we don't have maybe the best pitching staff by numbers, but what he has done to help those guys get along is absolutely huge. So.
Yeah, for us, I mean, all those top 5 guys, they all play a position. So like Cole's our center fielder. He was first team All-State outfielder last year, not as a pitcher. Lakin Stevenson as a right fielder. So when those guys are on the mound, it's a plug and play. We've got some younger kids that have had to come in and plug in for them on those games, and it's one of those where if when we field it behind those guys, we're pretty good. It's when we kind of boot it around every once in a while, but we're trying to find, it's a puzzle, especially when you're pulling Cole, out of the field, or his Nick is our designated hitter. So when he pitches, who fills that role? So it's this big puzzle piece that we're trying to put together. But it's like I said, when we field it, it's not bad. Our shortstop, he's going to Evansville. He's a 3-year starter, Drew McConnell, and I mean he's really good. He's that mainstay on the infield. Everybody else is a piece, because Gabe Rogers, our third baseman, who is a great defender, he has to come to the mound. So who goes to third? But Drew keeps that infield pretty much together. Keeps them on the same page.
Yeah.
But that's our big thing is who goes in when Cole has to pitch or Ronan has to pitch.
That's where it gets a little suspect.
That's where it gets a little suspect. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we've got some young kids that have to fill those spots.
Right.
And they've done a good job.
And that's a big spot. I think that's where it gets a little nervous time for these kids sometimes. How do they handle that pressure? I got to go in. I want to make the play, and it gets difficult. I think it's dicey on some of those young guys.
Mm-hmm.
You see who I think has
See
it up
who has
here.
it. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't answer because I still have 3 positions that we're working through. So
That's all right.
we're not there yet. I'm not there yet. So
We're not.
man.
We're 18.
Hey, that's all right, Coach.
Yeah.
I get you.
I think I've had 4 first basemen out there in the last 2 weeks. It's okay. No,
And it's like that in high school, isn't it? That's what it is sometimes.
Part of it, you want, at this point, you want all 3, right? You want the guy that can hit a little bit,
Yeah.
that can defend, and that isn't going to hurt you. Maybe in some situation that they just understand the game.
Right.
But I think competition's fine, but at some point you got to settle in, right? And you got to hope that group is going to work towards the end goal. But we're not there yet. We still have some games.
I got you. Well, I understand. We watch a lot of youth baseball around it, and I think that's one of the tough things. You all these kids, you guys are making these decisions with these kids, and I think it's an interesting scenario when I start watching, and it's one of the reasons why we did the 14U championship. We do this about 8 weekends out of the year with Game 7. And it's always interesting to see these kids that are heading into high school. Where are they at? You know, how well do they play? And there's some names, you know, that we've seen that have done very well. And some that, you know, you don't really see much after that. And so I always find it a fascinating subject, especially from high school coaches. You know, I know you guys don't deal a lot with freshmen, but it's still the program. You got kids coming in. Do you guys all do summer camps with elementary kids? So you do see these kids, right? Baseball IQ is something we talk about a lot. And when you're seeing kids at camp, when you see freshmen coming in, do you see a high level of baseball IQ?
I would say mixed. Last couple of years, the kids that I've had of baseball kids, IQ was very high. I mean, it didn't matter situations out there that they knew everything that was going on. I can tell you, just like from even this year, losing a lot of those guys. I went out to the mound more during, you know, like just different situations, first and third, second, whatever's going on, to talk over situations in game. I don't feel like we are as prepared this year as we have been in the past couple of years, whether that be my fault or we're just not, like you said, maybe that IQ is not there all the way around the field. So as reassurance, I'm making sure to go out there and have those conversations in big situations during the game. I do think with the incoming kids, there's different clubs, academies that you can, and obviously not going to say who we got or what we got.
I get that.
As they come in, I feel like obviously they do a really good job. Some others maybe, you know, they might have a lot of different teams at a lot of different levels, but maybe they aren't quite teaching up the fundamentals and the situational stuff as good as others.
And I'll say this, I know you guys don't know me very well, and Kirk's looking at me like, this guy's crazy. But we talk about these things. I don't look at these things in a negative in any way. I always look at it as, what's the solution to these things? I'm a solutions kind of guy. I own my own business. I believe in those things. If you don't have a solution for something, then what are we doing? And I always, when these questions are presented, I always I want to hear perspectives, because there's got to be a solution to something. Why are more injuries happening with kids, 14 having Tommy John surgery? Well, maybe we should have a roster more than 10 kids at 10 and 90, right? So those are things that we discuss. So, especially baseball IQ, we have a lot of clubs, and I like club baseball. I really do. I think club baseball is good. I think it has its positives and negatives. I think most things have their positives and negatives. So I think it's always interesting when it brings to that question when high school coaches are saying, well, where are we at here? Where's that development process? And if clubs are seeing this from high school coaches, maybe they start thinking, maybe we ought to do something or change something a little bit here to get a little better. Where are you going to high school? And, is there a relationship? Do I know who's coaching there? And what does that coach expect from these kids? And what can we do to help that process? And I think the more we can do that, I think it raises the level of baseball, period. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, 100%. A lot of our kids are on the same summer team. So we have a very good relationship with them. I help with my son. He's a sophomore.
Okay.
But you'll see in the summer, guys on a Thursday throw 105 pitches. No mound visits, and they leave them in. And it's summer. So I kind of think that could be where some arm injuries have happened. I know in the summer, our manager is a guy named Trevor Vance with the Royals. We don't throw anybody 70, 80 pitches max. If on our team we keep 15, you have pitch. So we have 15 pitchers. And he's a big believer in that. And so that's what I've seen, just sitting there on a Thursday at 2:00, this kid's at 100 pitches already, and he just keeps going.
And I think that's sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. But I'll win a Thursday game at wherever you're at 2. So.
And then may come in and close on Sunday.
Yeah.
The championship.
Well, yeah, and you don't see them again. Yeah, that's the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think just my biggest problem that I've had with freshmen is, one, they've never practiced 6 to 7 days a week.
Ah,
And
That's a fair point.
we go 6 days a week, 3 hours a day. That's 18 hours. That's 4 weeks of summer ball practice total, probably. So we always keep more because we know they're going to get injured.
right.
And then they come in, and I don't mind. I haven't had, all freshmen always have arm problems because of what they've done in their summer teams. So we know how much mileage they've done. We ask them, do you pitch on Thursday? Big game against whoever? Oh yeah, throw 3 innings. Okay, well then what do you do? What? Oh, then I get the full game Sunday. I got it. Well I'm adding that up. Okay, well that's.
And you're probably playing shortstop in there too, right?
Right. So we know, I already know how much mileage is on their arms anyway. So we keep extra just because we know they're going to get hurt. They've been on the mound too many times. We're going to slow it down. We're going to make it easier for them to say, you're going, just go. And then you're not going, which I think is a little bit different. But I mean, I don't have a problem with them playing so many games. It seems like the tournaments now are starting a little earlier in the week now, instead of just the Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
So now they're going the whole week.
Right.
But I want them to play because, I mean, a freshman comes in and thinks, hey, I'm going to go beat out Trey Snyder. Okay, well, he has
Good luck.
1,000 more at-bats than you.
Mm-hmm.
He's a man. He can grow facial hair. And he's been trusted a lot. He's been in the fire. These kids just come in, they think, oh, I see my PBR ranking, I see my perfect game ranking, and then, we're right in. We got it. And then, can you get a bunt down for me on first and third, or 2 outs,
Boy,
or 1 out?
please, just please.
And they're like, what do you mean? All right, well, you're out. Now you're out. You can't get somebody else to attend this. It's just that kind of, they've been in the fire enough. So I think that's a misconception for me, is just they come in, they just steamroll through it.
Right.
And then they meet somebody like me who's, I've been through the fire too much. And so you just stay in your lane, work on it. Let's see how it works. Then maybe after you've clocked some hours, we'll see what it looks like later on. I just think that's a hard sell.
Yeah. Well, when we were out here in February at the PBR event, we met Mr. It's Bologna, right?
Bologna, yep.
And he's a shortstop. That's what it says on the old PBR deal.
No.
And he's a 2026, and I'm like, you're not going to play him, Trey. So there's a young man. If you're smart enough, where else can I play? Right?
Yeah,
that goes
exactly.
to the point, because he's not playing shortstop.
He's not. He's not. He played 1 inning. We took Trey out for 1 inning this year to give him a break.
But see, that's also, you got to, we always tell them, you have to have an outside position, an inside position, and maybe a specialty position, catcher, pitcher, something.
Right.
But, if they play on, I don't know, whatever team, and they're only playing shortstop, well, then they don't have the knowledge of the 3 or the right side stuff, or even an outside position. So, that's part of summer ball is, they kind of recruit them for that position, and that's where they're going to be. Maybe that they're not so flexible to maybe say, hey, you need to do something else.
I do think he hit it right on that. Great point was the practice point. We all get to practice for those first 3 weeks. We get a lot of good practices in, and then we have a lot of different multiple games. I'm lucky right now. I got 2 fields going. You both right now with 1 field. It is tough to get practice time during the season. It is really tough. We'll come out. I know already looking at the schedule this week, because that field out there is not going to be ready, our second field. So we'll have games on our main field all week. So we try to get out for 30, 45 minutes. What can we get done in 30, 45 minutes, this situation? So practice is key. I feel like we were maybe more prepared at the beginning of the year than sometimes we are, right now with those situations, just because we haven't been able to go back and revisit them.
That's a great point, because especially early in the season with weather, it's not always conducive. The weather isn't great today. It's be better tomorrow, but that's always a concern in my estimation. Especially, I think you guys have it a little worse up here than they have it down in St. Louis as well, because you always get the brunt mostly of it's kind of calmed down a little bit before it gets down I-70. And coming through this mess here, it was a mess.
Yeah.
When you guys are looking at these kids, freshmen, whatnot, come back to the IQ part of it and how they come into understanding baseball itself. When we're talking about, a 14-year-old kid, do they understand a double cut? You say, you just work, stay in your lane over here. How many positions you play? Can you do that? Can you execute that? And it's been my experience at times, I'm watching some of these games, and then you can ask a kid what a double cut is, and he doesn't know it. Has that happened to you before?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time?
All the time. It's constant teaching the game. It's constant. And because it is just a game. Okay,
Yes.
There's many ways to play the game,
Mm-hmm.
but there's 100 ways. You have to know how to do it in order to win a game. In high school, that's what we're trying to do, win a game. We're not just trying to just say, hey, we're going to go see what we do, get 16 at-bats before games here this summer and see what happens. No, we're trying to win every game. So it's like, if you don't understand all of those advanced situations, it makes it very difficult to, because these guys probably, I'm the same way. I kick myself going, man, if we just would have made that one little decision, if that kid would have known that, we probably would have been a better chance of winning.
Right.
So I think, I don't know if it's being taught. I feel like I spend more time teaching the game more than anything. It's just helping them understand situations.
You guys feel the same way?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Because I think, with that being said, I understand there's a lot of programs out there and there's a lot of kids. And I think there's, how do I want to put this? Different levels, of talent and kids with want to and this and that. And I think sometimes what we've found is we're trying to lump everybody into one place, and not every kid has the drive or the will or whatnot to play at this level. And then when you get to high school, and I think it's tough, you guys are all Class 6 programs. How many guys did you cut this year?
This year was a down year for us, and I think we had, what did I feel like I was right around 90. Usually we're around 110.
Wow.
And we keep around 60, 65. So this year, I think we kept, or maybe had to evaluate 25. Usually, it's around half, 35, 40 kids. It's tough. And honestly, there's been a lot of years that the kids that we evaluate should be playing somewhere, And that's what's really tough, especially the older kids, the kids that we've had in our program for a year or two. Because after that sophomore year, that's where it comes kind of time where, is he going to be able to help you out, or does you probably need to look a different direction? So.
Our worst year together was 2010.
Mm-hmm.
We had 135 go out. We had to cut 65 because we only had one school.
Oh, no kidding.
So I was an assistant at Liberty for.
Oh, is that right?
That's right. Holy cow!
I can't imagine having to tell that many kids. That would be tough.
Yeah, I didn't go to High B once.
Because there's some talented kids there, right, Coach?
Oh, yeah, and that's just it. And I'm an old dog, so it's harder for me to take baseball away from a kid.
Yeah.
Where
I understand that, yeah.
Back when I was younger, it was like, okay, I have a job to do, but now it's just like,
Right.
this kid's not going to be able to play anymore. Or at least not maybe until the summer. You can miss out on all the, because I think high school's awesome. High school
I do
baseball
too.
is so concentrated, I love it. But I feel like, it's just, they're going to miss out on all those opportunities. So it gets a little harder as you get older.
See, they have four. We only have 3 teams. We have one field, so we keep 45. So I think, and we were down, and I think we had 90 come out, and we were down this year. But we have to, we don't have that fourth C team or that sophomore team, so we had to cut 45, and we were down at 90. And we've been up, last 4 or 5 years, 100, 110, but it's slowly going down a little bit.
So parents, I'm going to say this, before you start hollering at Coach in the high V, just remember, it's a tough gig. I get it. I can't imagine. And that's because I know for certain it's the same way with the big schools over there. That's a tough deal, and there's kids that are talented, but that decision, it's a tough thing. I always say, maybe we could institute a transfer portal, and some of these kids can go play.
It's all go to you.
You got to go play a Class 5. Can't play a Class 6, because when you see the numbers, it really tails off. You have some bigger Class 5 schools, but man, still, some of these Class 5 schools, you maybe have 50, 60 kids.
Well, and it comes in waves.
Right.
We had 26 seniors try out.
Oh, wow.
Which I've never seen. And we were all off season, parent meetings. We just can't keep 26 seniors. When our catcher's a junior, our right fielders are junior, those, we just can't. And we did. A kid that plays second for us, he came back. We cut him as a junior and he made it as a senior. And he's in a lot of innings at second.
There you go.
But yeah, that number was, I'd never seen that one.
No.
But it's just, I think our senior class next year might be 15, that would come out.
Wow.
So it's just kind of a wave of
Ebbs and
depends on the
flows,
year.
right?
Yeah,
Ebbs and
depends on
flows.
the year.
How often do you see, it's always nice when you have the talent, right? Those ebbs that go up. Are the lows a little more frequent as far as talent-wise, or do you think that is becoming less and less where the talent really falls off coming into the program?
I can speak for this. I feel like it's fine. I like it. I embrace it because it makes you work harder, and you have more examples for the guys that left. You can tell those younger guys, hey, this is what the expectation that they set. This is what you need to try to work yourself to.
Right.
And then you can challenge them a little bit more because we've had success in that area, like pitching. Okay, so then your time is now. Your time is now. Let's go be better. And so I think that it's been great. I don't mind it. I'd like to have an awesome, talented team.
D1s across the field, right?
But for me, it's been fun because you get to work. You get to work harder, and you get to see some of those results. You're like, I didn't think you could do that. You did it.
From a freshman to a senior, that
or
growth, right?
Or just that opportunity, like, hey, you're going to have to go now. Like, you're going to have to go play left field right now. And even though maybe you want to be right, then you just see, like, I've had about 4 or 5 examples of that this year where we've kind of just said, hey, let's give him a shot, see what he can do. I may not be ready. And then next thing you know, he's still there. So that's kind of fun.
Playing baseball.
Yeah. But,
right?
Like, Trey's been the shortstop. There's been another shortstop.
You ready to see another shortstop?
Yeah. But like I had Addison Smith last year and Ad.
Yeah, that's right.
And he was the only one over there in tryouts. Everyone else was like 19 second basemen. I'm like, dude, guys, you can go over there. Like, no, we're going over there. So it's just that kind of fun stuff. Because like now this year, we're more positions are up for grabs. So it's been kind of fun. So.
That's pretty nice though. It makes it a little easier, doesn't it, Coach?
I'll follow the biggest underseller ever in here.
That's true.
That's nothing. Want everybody to go check his record out before we listen to this. Okay, let's not let him sneak.
That's true.
Yes, it's great to have Trey Snyder at shortstop and Bo Jonas, and those are the 2 guys that have been with us. They came up with Tate and Ty. And Jackson, and those were the guys that we knew coming in were ultra talented, number one, but they were baseball guys, and they got it. And that's all they wanted to do was play baseball, and they loved being out here. They loved being on the field more than anything, and they loved being on the high school team. Like you ask them what was their favorite time, it was high school. It wasn't the summer circuit. They absolutely loved being a part of what we had out here. To speak on the talent thing, like we are nowhere near as talented this year as we have been last couple of years. But the thing I will say, and I think it's true for all of us, is even the kids that are not as talented are so much stronger now. Like these kids work their tails off. Every guy out there that plays in our lineup is going to do stuff on their own after practices. They're going to work out either before school, after school. They're going to get extra work in. They get it. Like they know how tough it is to play here. Mm-hmm. So maybe they are not the next stud shortstop wherever, but they're trying to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They may not be able to go to Arkansas and play, but they are working their tail off to be able to get out there and step on the field.
I think this goes to a point. We'll start here because you got some guys, and everybody's had guys that have gone D1. And the one thing that is curious to me when I look at the landscape of just in the state of Missouri, UCM, down to SEMO, down to Missouri State, and you're talking then Quincy, Maryville. So I like Coach Ewell over there and what he's doing. Maryville's program's coming up. The JUCO colleges, the Division II to Division III, NAIA. There is a lot of baseball and a lot of good college baseball in this state. If you're not playing D1, it really doesn't matter, right? You can go play and have a really good career at any of these schools. Agreed?
Agreed. And and that's where they have to try to find their fit.
Yeah.
Not everybody's Ty or Tate or Milbrand or Cole. But we've sent a lot of guys to the Kansas JUCOs, to the William Jewells, and places like that where they've got to play.
Yeah.
Got to play for 4 years. They got some of their education paid for. I know what I paid for Mizzou for my daughter. So if any help you can get to offset that,
Right.
is great. It's good baseball around. So
Yeah, one of my son's teammates, good friend of his, Cody Lampy, played all 4 years at William Jewell. Got his degree in nursing, and that's what he's doing now.
Yeah.
But he played. I think why not? If you can play 4 years more of baseball and getting your degree, why not? I mean, I think it's the subject matter there and whatnot, people around and things that you go and you see. And my son played NAIA baseball, and I had no clue what NAIA baseball was about. Never, I was like, okay, what? And I was surprised. I really was surprised about the level of baseball that there is there. And I think that's the key is you have very few kids like a Trey Schneider, like a Cole Gibbler, like a Carson Milbrandt, like a Ty Sissel. These guys are 1%. Everybody else, you have to kind of work toward it. That doesn't mean you can't get there, though, right?
No, right. That's what I'll go back to what I said. I mean, that's what they're trying to do. Like that they get that the bar has been raised from here up to here around in this area. Like we talked the last 5 years, I feel like that's when it's really taken off. I mean, I know we've always had good teams around here, but not every team has those guys. So
Right.
I really feel like it's a lot of the self-dedication that these guys are doing.
If you're getting a call from UCM, you're a pretty good baseball player. Am I wrong?
You're a really good player. You're a really good player.
Because they've been, I think they were in the top 25 last year as well. I think they're again this year, are they not?
Top five, probably.
Yeah,
I think
probably
they've
top
lost 4 or
five.
5 games.
Yeah, I think they're 48-6 or something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
They could probably beat a lot of Division I schools, I'd imagine. Agreed?
Oh, absolutely. Even when I was back playing at Mizzou, we didn't want to play them because why would you, right? I mean, if you're one of those schools, why would you want to go play a Central Missouri and have a chance to lose? I mean, you got 2, right? Central Missouri, Blue Springs South, or
You've got 3.
3.
Gabe, Lincoln, and Nick.
Blue South's got 2. We have 1. I mean, they're recruiting the area.
Wow.
So for sure. And I know
That's
there's a lot
huge.
more out there,
Yeah.
obviously around here.
I got 3.
You got 3.
You got 3? My goodness.
Yeah.
And the other one that I think is starting to come into the mix is Quincy. Up there, they're kind of stuck up in the north there. Nobody thinks about them. The last couple of years, they've been in the regionals. They're playing good baseball, and they're recruiting the heck out of St. Louis and moving up in that way. And I think they're also Chicago and St. Louis, and they're starting to put together
Nice.
a very good program down there. So that's when you see these kids coming in that are at that level and they start saying, where can I go? What can I do? Do you guys have a lot of that, or is that mostly done through the clubs these days? How much is your influence as far as where these kids are going and things of that nature? That's curious to me.
10 years ago, it was 10 years ago. It was pretty much club, I would say. Yeah. Then I don't know where the shift went, but it seems like then it just kind of started trending more towards both.
Yeah.
Getting it, yeah, and you know, I think the path and the timing depends. You know, I mean, like I have 2 kids on visits right now that are seniors.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, their time is now. But I've had those colleges reach out to me, but I'm sure they're reaching out to their club team as well. So I think it's kind of a mix. I think it just depends. Plus, it's also situational. I mean, just like, you know, if you perform at one of these
Events,
showcases,
right?
I mean, it could just change really quick.
Oh yeah.
So
Which it can't. Yeah.
They may not even call anybody. They say, "All right, we're going. You're in."
They call mom and dad. Hey, can we talk to your kid?
Then they tell you, "Oh, I committed to so and so." What happened? You know, so it's
Right.
stuff like that. I don't know. That's a mix.
The future games at PBR, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Kids go down there, play on a team down there, and it's like all of a sudden it just explodes, and they get these offers. So I think that's but I think that's curious part of it. You know, how these kids are getting to these places. The high school coach still has an impact in that, correct? Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, now there are definitely some. There's been multiples that I haven't talked to anybody, and the kid will, you know, text, "Hey, I'm committing here," and whoa, what happened? You know.
Yeah.
But I would say no percentage, but the majority we talk to. You know, the colleges are doing their homework. They're not just going out seeing this kid play. They're reaching out.
Because they want to know you're seeing that kid at that level. It's an honest perspective, I would imagine. Probably a lot less maybe biased. And I don't know. You know, I'm hoping. I think clubs would be, you know, non-biased in that respect and giving information. But you guys see them in the classroom every day, though, right? Well, at least you do.
Yeah. No, that's been a lot of questions. You know, how are they in the class? You know, even with Cole, you know, in his, you know, the draft coming up, even these scouts, what's he like in the hall? You know, there's a lot of questions. You know, we had the Teppish kid, the Johnson kid, but, you know, Cole's getting different questions about school. You know, who's he run with? You know, how is he, you know, in a classroom? How is he in the hallway? You know, just, they're not going to throw millions of dollars at him, you know, if he's not a good person, you know, but I've got a lot more of those of late. And like he said, you know, 10 years ago, probably not so much, but now it's, you know, I think they're investing, you know, with the money that they'll ask.
Last thing, thank you. NIL. How's that changed the landscape of baseball?
I don't even know.
I'm glad
I thought you were going to go NIL for high school baseball players. What do you think?
I hope not. No. I never want to see that. Although some of these kids are getting the money that early.
Yeah.
No, I never want to see that.
No.
But do you think that's the NIL stuff? Do you think that's why that's changing? And the
I
conversations?
don't even know. I mean,
Well, baseball's probably not getting big money like football.
No. I understand.
You know, I mean, it's.
Yeah. So I would say probably that, you know, the Chase Burns kid, or when that Wake Forest kid that went from Tennessee to Wake Forest, there was a reason, right, that he went.
Gotcha.
I went up to Lawrence this morning to watch Ty play, and I got to sit and talk with his dad. And this kind of came up a little bit, and we were talking about it, and he was telling me how one of their kids, you know, one of their, I think it was a starting pitcher, he said, but he's got a car. You know, he's got a car. I saw a guy from Blue Springs South, Wichita State. Rapport. I feel like, you know,
Tommy.
you see that stuff, and it's like, holy cow, it's definitely there. And like I was telling his dad, like, if you're getting this kind of treatment, why leave, right?
And Tommy's a big personality.
Oh yes, yeah, with the big arm. So
Yeah, it all fits, right?
yeah, so I don't know what goes into it. But
I think that'd be a little bit of pressure, I think, on a baseball player, because, you know, you got, 30, is it 32 now for D1, 33, the number you can have of kids?
Yes, I believe it is. I think it's somewhere around that
Five
number.
walking,
35,
yeah,
isn't
somewhere
it?
there. Yeah, someone walking. I just think it'd be tough, especially in baseball because it's a failure game.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
And
over 10. You got a car. You can't
Yeah,
hit.
right.
You know, I'm a walk-on. I'm blasting balls off. I should be getting a car. You know, I think it'd be tough.
Right.
But like in football, I mean, I
interesting.
can see that. I mean, Dylan Raiola's getting what, $17 million. I mean, I don't know. He's probably going to make a bunch of money. I just think in baseball, it's so up and down. I mean, you better perform. I mean, you get lit one night, and I don't know. I just think that you better be really good if you're getting some NIL.
It's a different. I know. I understand. It's basically football and basketball are the big ones, but I know there are kids getting money from NIL baseball, and I think it's attracting some of these kids that maybe would, even maybe go pro. We can keep you in college a little bit longer, because hey, that coach he's got a job, feed his family. Yeah, winning is important. With these coaches, or else you don't have a job, right?
Sure, college for sure.
So, outstanding. Well, coaches, excuse me, I'm used to that's plural. Right? Guys, I thank you for your time. I hope that was interesting. I enjoyed the conversation.
Absolutely.
A lot of good stuff. I definitely got to get you back on the show, man.
No,
Yeah.
we'll do this.
Yeah.
I told you how this
He goes, no, I don't do this, man.
Yeah.
But he's right in there, right?
I probably said already too much.
No, you can never say too much. And last thought here, I appreciate this because I want honest conversation because I think it's necessary. There's so many things that happen. I try to stay away from negatives because we talk enough about negatives. I want to see what can we do. How do we create the best case scenario in these situations? And what I've seen and just talking to you gentlemen is that what you work to do, and I think most coaches do, is try to create a positive atmosphere for these kids to succeed. And so parents, remember, and I think there's the other conversation. I know we talk about this, I say this, but I think 99% of the parents are pretty nice, pretty level-headed. We have a small percentage, and that's usually what it is. I think most parents appreciate the job you guys do and understand it's not easy. It's always hard when your kid comes home and you're like, I got cut. That's tough. Yeah, I mean, I don't care. It really is. As a parent, you want your kids to succeed. I always think that's cool. But just remember, folks, it's a hard job. It's hard. That's all. Guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Folks, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Remember, if you like what we're doing, take a moment, hit the subscribe button. We just put up Mr. Do you pronounce the G? I can't remember. It's been a while since.
Stegall? Yes.
No, not your name. Mr. Will Belong.
Oh, Bologna. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We got it. We have an interview with him from that event
Oh, okay.
on the site.
All right.
You can go check it out. We got a bunch of guys from the Kansas side, a couple from Johnny Carver. My goodness, that kid is for real too, isn't he? You guys played Ray Pack, right? Have you seen him?
Yeah.
Did you see Johnny?
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's
Yeah.
pretty good.
We got a chance to see him. I liked him a lot. Nice young man. I
Yes.
enjoyed talking to him. See this talent kind of everywhere, and that's what keeps Ray Pack in ball games, right?
The arms.
three of
The
them.
arms.
You got three.
Yeah, my goodness. So there's a squirrel right there. I can't help it. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. And hit the dinger next to it because that's what we do. We hit dingers. And because chicks dig the long balls, right? That's why you guys got married, right? You hit long balls.
I pissed.
Oh, so you gave them up. No, I'm kidding.
My wife never showed me at any of our games. I think she showed up to one of my college games. So at least not a silk competition.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next time.